Imagine stepping into a ghost town where the history is palpable and the streets are silent. Once vibrant Canadian towns born of gold rushes, industrial booms, or high society tourism now stand as beautiful anachronisms. Places like Dawson City and Val-Jalbert were once beacons of prosperity, but shifts in resource economies and modern infrastructure have left them behind, offering a quiet, melancholic glimpse into Canada's past that modern tourists rarely seek. Dawson City was once the legendary epicenter of the Klondike Gold Rush, which exploded in the late 1890s, briefly making it Canada's largest city west of Winnipeg. The discovery of gold in the region generated unimaginable wealth and fostered a unique, dynamic frontier metropolis. People arrived by the tens of thousands, overcoming immense hardships to transform a barren outpost into a thriving city almost overnight, complete with luxurious saloons, grand hotels, theaters, and fully functioning municipal services that rivaled older southern cities. This influx established a legendary cultural hub in the remote north, attracting adventurers, entrepreneurs, and entertainers from around the globe. The town today meticulously preserves this entire heritage, maintaining its colorful, historic charm and famous dirt streets, a genuine, government-protected living museum to the gold rush era. However, its significant decline in mainstream popularity is solely due to its extreme remoteness and difficult access. Requiring a challenging 7-hour drive from Whitehorse on largely gravel roads, the sheer inaccessibility makes it highly inconvenient for the average modern tourist accustomed to easy travel. Consequently, Dawson City is now a specialized destination, cherished by dedicated history buffs, seasoned adventurers, and those seeking authentic northern culture, but largely bypassed by the wider traveling public, leaving the powerful romance of the gold rush to a select few. Val-Jalbert stands as a remarkably perfect example of an early 20th century planned industrial community earning recognition as one of North America's best-preserved company towns. Located in Quebec's picturesque Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean region, the town was established around a highly successful pulp mill built to process the vast local timber resources. Unlike many resource communities that grew haphazardly, Val-Jalbert was a deliberate vision, a modern, self-contained community intended to embody industrial ambition and support a high quality of life for its working population. It featured amenities that were rare for the era, including a large convent school, running water, and its own hydroelectricity. For approximately 2 thriving decades, the mill was the undeniable lifeblood of the community, ensuring Val-Jalbert's reputation as both prosperous and a model industrial town, where every aspect of life was carefully curated and provided for its residents. However, this industrial utopia met a sudden and irreversible end. A severe market crisis in the pulp industry, specifically the disruptive transition to rayon production, delivered a fatal economic blow, forcing the massive mill to shut down permanently in 1927. This economic failure triggered a dramatic and swift exodus, causing the entire community to empty out and transforming it into a hauntingly beautiful ghost town within a single year. Today, Val-Jalbert operates strictly as a meticulously managed heritage village for visitors. Guests can walk the silent, perfectly preserved streets, explore restored workers' homes, view the imposing remnants of the mill, and appreciate the dramatic natural setting framed by the majestic Yukon Falls. It offers a unique, quiet, and deeply immersive glimpse into a vanished era of industrial and social life, distinguished by a melancholy beauty devoid of the noise and crowds of a working city. Maple Creek served as a geographically significant historic ranching and railway hub on the original Trans-Canada Highway route, making it a crucial commercial, social, and logistical center for the vast surrounding prairie region and its burgeoning ranching operations. The town's strategic location on the Canadian Pacific Railway line gave it a robust, bustling vitality as the central connection point for commerce, mail, cattle shipping, and long-distance travel across the sparsely populated West. This historic importance is still powerfully evident in its charming, meticulously preserved old town, boasting a main street lined with heritage buildings that vividly transport visitors back to the late 19th century. Furthermore, it remains the primary gateway to the unique ecology and stunning natural beauty of Cypress Hills Interprovincial Park. Yet, its quiet, remote location causes it to often feel in the middle of nowhere to modern travelers. The construction of the newer, faster route of the Trans-Canada Highway frequently bypasses the town center, diverting the steady stream of long-haul tourists. This infrastructure change leads many travelers to overlook the spot in favor of larger, more accessible, and more convenient stops, unintentionally neglecting a community rich in authentic prairie history and the beautiful rolling landscape that once defined its regional importance. Field, British Columbia, owes its very existence to the Canadian Pacific Railway and the burgeoning early exploration of the Canadian Rocky Mountains. Established as an essential tiny railway community, it also served as the original base for accessing the then-new Yoho National Park. Field's strategic location places it deep within some of the world's most majestic scenery, nestled among the towering peaks, massive glaciers, and spectacular waterfalls of the historic Kicking Horse Pass. This picturesque setting, combined with its foundational role in opening up the Western Canadian wilderness, should, in theory, make it a primary tourist destination. However, the town is easily and consistently overshadowed by the immense tourist infrastructure, relentless global marketing, and sheer volume of visitors drawn to its much larger internationally recognized neighbors, Banff and Jasper. These larger towns boast extensive amenities, ranging from luxury hotels to vast retail options, and offer a level of global recognition that Field, with its modest size, simply cannot match. Consequently, Field largely remains a profoundly peaceful place, a quiet detour for travelers. Visitors to the region often drive right past the small, tranquil townsite, only pausing briefly at Yoho's main, easily accessible viewpoints like Takaka Falls before continuing on to the better-known destinations. This bypass effect means Field attracts only a smaller, dedicated segment of tourists, those who are actively seeking the serene beauty of Yoho's hidden gems, such as the highly restricted access Lake O'Hara area. Field's inherently small size and a lack of commercial flash ensure it stays far from the tourist throngs that define the more famous mountain parks. For those who do seek it out, Field offers a uniquely tranquil, authentic wilderness experience and a genuine look at historic railway life that the vast majority of modern travelers simply overlook in favor of convenience and spectacle. St. Andrews by the Sea was historically a prominent high society summer resort in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, a celebrated getaway that drew wealthy North American visitors with its cool, maritime air, invigorating sea breezes, and stunning seaside location on the Bay of Fundy. The town's history of affluence and leisure is vividly reflected in its incredible collection of beautifully preserved colonial and Victorian architecture, featuring grand homes, large resort hotels, and meticulously maintained grid-patterned streets. This reputation for exclusivity and beauty made it a famous vacation destination for generations. However, though it remains a gorgeous, postcard-perfect town, its slightly isolated location on the southern tip of New Brunswick causes it to fall off the principal East Coast tourist route. Coupled with the preference for modern air travel to larger urban centers and the focus on the Bay of Fundy's high tides farther north, this geographical isolation makes it a lesser-known detour in the contemporary tourism market. The result is a quiet, leisurely atmosphere that, while charming, contrasts sharply with its past as a nationally recognized playground for the elite. Iroquois Falls is a classic and poignant example of the Northern Ontario company town, a community deliberately planned and meticulously constructed in the early 20th century to support a flourishing timber and pulp and paper industry. With the remarkable foresight of mill owner Frank Anson, it was designed to be a model community within the Canadian Shield, providing residents with an enviably high quality of life. Unlike many rough-and-tumble resource settlements, Iroquois Falls featured modern infrastructure, robust municipal services, and amenities superior to its contemporaries, quickly becoming a local economic powerhouse and a source of stable employment for decades. This single-industry dependence fostered a vibrant, cohesive social life that reflected the optimistic spirit of mid-20th century Canadian industrial ambition. However, this very reliance on a single sector proved to be the town's structural vulnerability. Over the latter half of the 20th century, the town's primary economic engine failed due to the structural decline of the pulp and paper industry, a shift driven by market centralization, technological obsolescence, and global competition. The subsequent closure and downsizing of the mill caused the town's foundation to crumble, leading to a profound population shrinkage, losing over 23% since 1991. The vibrant commercial activity and once modern amenities have since faded, leaving behind a quieter, more introspective place. Today, Iroquois Falls is rarely visited by external tourists, serving as an enduring, often overlooked monument to the decline of mid-century industrial life in the Canadian North, and powerfully symbolizes how the economic forces that once created utopian, planned communities can just as quickly render them obsolete. Corner Brook once commanded significant regional importance as a major industrial center and port town in western Newfoundland, widely recognized as the area's industrial capital. Its vitality and substantial working-class population were driven by one of the largest pulp and paper mills in the world and an active deep-sea shipping port. This economic engine sustained a lively local culture and made it a crucial hub for the region. As heavy industry declined and global shipping routes shifted in the late 20th century, the town's economic foundations weakened significantly, resulting in a major population decrease of over 24% since the 1970s. While it remains a practical and beautiful coastal city, its current role is primarily as the gateway to the world-renowned Gros Morne National Park. However, the town itself is now frequently viewed by tourists as a convenient stopover point for supplies and lodging, the last urban center before the national park. It is consistently overshadowed by the raw, spectacular natural beauty of Gros Morne, preventing it from being seen as a primary, must-see destination in its own right, despite its historical importance and striking natural harbor setting. Lacombe's considerable historical appeal lies in its outstanding dedication to preserving and restoring one of Alberta's finest and most intact Edwardian streetscapes from the early 20th century. This significant civic effort ensured the downtown core retains its authentic, picturesque, historic charm, which once made it a celebrated standout example of prairie heritage and a charming local draw for early settlers and the surrounding agricultural community who relied on its rail access. Despite its aesthetically pleasing architecture and rich history, its location approximately 90 minutes north of Calgary places it far from the main tourism highways that feed directly into the mountains. Consequently, it is easily and consistently overshadowed by the massive, internationally recognized draws of Banff and Jasper, which pull the vast majority of Alberta's out-of-province tourists. As a result, Lacombe remains a quiet, often overlooked spot, appreciated primarily by local history enthusiasts and those seeking a peaceful day trip, but it is rarely included on the packed itineraries of tourists focused on the province's iconic Rocky Mountain destinations. Iceland along the shores of Lake Winnipeg. This unique history instilled a strong, proud cultural identity and fostered a thriving, busy fishing port that served as the region's economic anchor. The town still fervently celebrates this remarkable legacy with the famous annual Icelandic festival, Íslendingadagurinn, a major event held for a few days each August. This festival attracts a significant crowd of attendees and descendants who partake in Viking-themed activities, cultural celebrations, and traditional Icelandic food, momentarily restoring the town to its historic vibrancy and national recognition. Gimli is not merely a town with Icelandic roots, it is historically significant as one of Canada's most important and largest non-French English ethnic enclaves. However, for the majority of the year, Gimli returns to being a relatively quiet, charming town on the shores of Lake Winnipeg that is largely overlooked by mainstream tourists. This decline in year-round popularity stems from shifting travel patterns. Most provincial travelers stick to the metropolitan area of Winnipeg or venture to the more widely advertised natural areas farther north or west, such as Riding Mountain National Park, bypassing the lake's eastern and southern shores. This lack of sustained tourism leads to a calm, relaxed atmosphere that starkly belies its deep historical importance. Gimli remains a powerful, if tranquil, monument to a unique chapter of Canadian immigration and cultural preservation, inviting those who appreciate quiet heritage over bustling crowds. Elliot Lake, Ontario, emerged as a unique product of the post-war mining boom, rapidly founded in the mid-1950s as a model city at the heart of a massive uranium rush. This mineral excitement propelled the town onto the national stage, establishing a thriving modern economy that attracted thousands of young families with the promise of high-paying jobs and a modern lifestyle. It was celebrated across Canada as a pioneering community, specifically designed to provide high quality of life alongside industrial enterprise. This economic engine, fueled solely by uranium demand, sustained a bustling, optimistic atmosphere, embodying the mid-century belief that communities could be engineered for prosperity based on a single, indispensable resource. However, this prosperity proved ephemeral. As the global uranium market collapsed and the mines closed in the late 20th century, the town's entire economic base vanished. This abrupt structural failure caused the population to decline drastically, losing over 32% since 1981. Though Elliot Lake has since made concerted efforts to reinvent itself, capitalizing on its beautiful surrounding lakes and nature to attract retirees and outdoor tourists, it remains a quieter community, a shadow of its once bustling boomtown past. This dramatic shift serves as a powerful and potent symbol of the cyclical nature of resource-based economies in Canada, where communities can be built virtually overnight and, when the resource runs out or the market shifts, be emptied out almost as quickly. These Canadian towns reflect the nation's evolving story. Victims of progress from resource collapse to bypassed highways, they no longer draw crowds. However, their preserved history, unique heritage, and profound stillness offer an authentic connection to the past that modern tourist traps lack. They stand as quiet invitations, reminding us of the enduring beauty of history. Look up, look way up. For more authentic Canadian history, hit subscribe and open the tickle trunk of nostalgia.